What's up, Amp? What's going on, y'all? Welcome in to another episode of Snaps, your favorite daily college football podcasts. I hope you're all having a great day. If you're listening live on Amp, you can always download it from the App Store. Maybe you're watching in the future, youtube.com/@volumesnaps. That's pretty chill as well. I hope the future's chill, no big bad news or anything like that. I'm T-Bob Hebert, one of your hosts, is always joined by QB1, Aaron Murray. What's up, Aaron?
What's up? Happy Tuesday. It's getting real, man. I have a 7 a.m. flight tomorrow to go call the Missouri game on Thursday. So I'm freaking pumped. It's football time.
Nice, man. Okay, so it begins. It is Tuesday as the time of this recording. There's also Ahsoka Day. Got my Star Wars gear on. Shout out to all those who celebrate. I might have a thought on Ahsoka at the end of the show. But today we got a pretty big show planned for you, okay? First off, we got to talk Colorado, as there seems to be a divide starting to appear between a couple of different sides on this Coach Prime team. Imagine that. Coach Prime creating many different opinions, and we'll give you some of them. Then we're going to do our final snaps predictions for the year. We will name the two teams that we think will play for the conference title, who wins the conference title, who wins, who will be in the playoff, who wins the Natty, and who wins the Heisman. Then we want to preview some of the Thursday games, as actually, when you look at this week one slate, and actually I'm going to start here because, Aaron, I got a bit of a bone to grind, or a bone to pick.
You grind on that bone. Wow.
Yeah. Fuck it.
I definitely don't think you want to grind the bone, T-Bob.
Well, you definitely don't know me then, because I'm not scared of trying anything once, maybe even twice if I liked it the first time around. But here's the deal. The Thursday games are actually pretty nice. But when you look at the week one slate as a whole, it's objectively and frankly dog shit. I mean, you have LSU, FSU, but outside of that, it's a lot of stuff where you're having kind of reach to be excited. And look, I love games like UNC South Carolina, but that should not be the gym, right? That should be a delicious appetizer that comes out before I get my main course of Clemson, Georgia, or my main course of, I don't know, USC, Ohio State or something, right? Like the fact that we live in this day and age when television money has a just chokehold over college football, and on a week where they don't even have the NFL to compete against, when all the football in the world is just taking place in college, this is the week one that you serve me up absolute dog shit. I'm upset about it. I'm not too upset about that because it doesn't matter, because next year is going to be awesome. And in the 12-team playoff era, then teams will be incentivized to schedule better. And so this is probably all much ado about nothing, but allow me a little old man space here, because it's exceedingly fucking dumb to me.
About time you jump on the old man train and start complaining about college football a little bit. I feel like Mr. Negative Nancy over here this entire show every time when I bitch about something not being as good as it can be. But I will say there is a little bit of a soft spot in the heart. I did just get off with UT Martin, who is playing Georgia, who I have that game as well on Saturday. And at the end of the call, the head coach was like, this game is really important to us. Like, chance of us winning 1%. But for us to be able to give the amount of scholarships that we give to be able to survive as a program, this game means everything to our coaching staff, to our players, to our university. So it's like,
now, Aaron,
on the heart for the little guys to be able to survive, to keep their programs alive. So don't want that necessarily going away, but we also don't need 3 or 4 of these games.
Hold on now.
Maybe 2 is good.
Hold on now. And I'm no one to spend too much time on this, but if you're a regular listener to Snaps, you know that we have both called for these games to go away entirely. And we have both said that we understand the brutal economic impact that it has on a whole level of football, but that it just kind of is what it is, and those programs have to adapt or survive. So I understand that in this moment, you are feeling a little emotional, because how could you not after the conversation that you just heard? Like, I agree. It's actually kind of fascinating behind the scenes stuff right there. But do you really want these games to stick around? And I'm not trying to be an asshole, because as a fan, I see the value. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But I get what the coach is saying. Like,
no doubt.
If we lose that money, we lose half our scholarships.
Yeah.
We lose half our scholarships. That's less opportunity for kids to be able to play college football. They may just, give up their dreams of playing football because they can't play at the D1 level. We don't have enough scholarships to give them at our level. So they just go to school, they play other sports. It's a trickle down effect that affects kids being able to continue their lifelong dream of playing
Oh
football.
no, I get it, and I mean it's awesome a lot of
It
times
makes
for the
sense.
kids.
So I think you could cut down the number of them, but you got to keep the programs alive, man. You got to keep the programs
every
alive.
time you cut one down, you're cutting $1 million from someone's budget. So I all I'm saying is this. You know what this is? It's an incredibly human situation, right?
Yes.
Where you know objectively what the best decision is from an entertainment standpoint. But imagine this, when you look beyond the money and you actually look at the lives involved, it becomes something way more complicated and kind of tough to discern what the right thing to do is. But you know what? Fine. Fuck it. Keep UT Martin. Just don't do it week 1. Okay. Give me some good shit when the NFL's not there to steal the spotlight. But whatever. Let's move on. Let's get excited. All right. Tom Luganbill, more like Tom Lugan no chill, as Tom Luganbill goes in on Colorado and the roster that Coach Prime has made. Brum, do we have these clips ready to go? This comes from Next Round Live, a show that I love, actually, out of Alabama. Great guys, Next Round boys are. But this is out of Next Round Live. Here's what Tom Luganbill had to say on Colorado.
I think we're gonna finally see, for all the hoopla and all of the hype going into the offseason with Deion Sanders in Colorado, it does not mask the fact that they don't have any players on that roster. And you thought UMass was the worst roster in college football? It may be Colorado's. Now I say that, do they have a quarterback? Yes. Do they have 2 starting corners that could be NFL guys and one of them plays both ways? Yes. They are so devoid of talent up front on both sides of the ball. I don't know how they're going to keep their quarterback upright.
Okay. Like I said, Lugan, no chill. Straight up saying just completely devoid. Like, even hand waving away, being like, yeah, they have a good quarterback and 2 NFL corners. Like, that's 3 of the hardest boxes to check. But that's how shitty Tom Luganbill thinks the Colorado lines are going to be. However, before we debate, Aaron, I want to offer a counter perspective. This comes from some of your old workmates over there at CBS. This is one of my former neighbors, actually, growing up, the legend Randy Cross. Here's what he had to say and the rest of the CBS crew about Colorado.
Knee-jerk reaction would to see automatically, as they were in the final last year, TCU opens up and goes crazy. I'm not going to discount what Deion Sanders is going to do at Colorado, and I think it gets started with a win, an upset win at TCU.
Whoa! Okay, Randy. Whoa!
First of all, I need BJ's. Do you think I can rock BJ's suit the game this weekend? Maybe I call him up, say if BJ sent
fire.
Send that over. Always fresh, Mr. BJ.
Okay, so right there though, the only reason, so in one hand you have Tom Luganbill, very well respected, guy who knows the game, college football reporter. On the other hand, that is Randy Cross, someone who is a college football Hall of Famer, an NFL Hall of Famer, the center for all of Joe Montana's Super Bowl teams. In fact, probably the biggest beefcake. I forgot to send this to Brum, but in my side piece, probably the biggest beefcake I've ever seen. But either way, so you have 2 people that ostensibly know football that are coming away with completely different takes here. And so the question is, Aaron, who's right?
I disagree with Luganbill in the sense of, like, this is the worst roster besides UMass in the country. I don't know if I can agree with that. I think there is talent on there, and he even went in to say, like, yeah, they got top DBs and a guy that obviously in Travis that's going to play both sides of football. Like, that automatically makes you a pretty good team. Like, the skill is good, the quarterback's good, the receivers are good, DBs are good. Yep. I think the defensive line, they went in there and got some guys in the portal as well. Like, I think his biggest beef is, can that offensive line handle the conference that they're in, the week to week grind?
But that's kind of the thing. Like, who are they handling? Who are the Pac-12 D lines?
Hold up. It doesn't make you a terrible roster. It makes you a terrible offensive line. You can't just say, oh, they have an awful offensive line that can't protect the quarterback, so their roster sucks and they're not on the same level as UMass. Like, you can't make that statement. Just come and say, hey, man, I worry if they have an offensive line to protect their quarterback to be able to consistently move the ball up and down the field. You just can't say the whole roster shit, because the whole roster isn't shit. Deion did do a great job of weeding out a pretty bad roster from the year before bringing in more talent to Colorado than they've had in years, 4 and 5-star guys. So yes, it is a good roster that has to gel. And am I concerned about the offensive line? Yeah, I'm concerned about the offensive line. But that's one part of the entire pie, not the entire pie.
Yeah, and look, I want to be clear. I'm very high on TCU, as we're going to see on our predictions. But so I think they beat Colorado, right? Like I don't know if I think Colorado gets to 5 wins, but I don't know. It was oddly aggressive out of Luganville, the worst roster in the country thing, especially like you said, kind of cutting his own knees out from under him when then he talks about the NFL talent on the roster. But it wasn't just him. Mark Schlabach says that well, whatever he was saying, he thinks Colorado's going to be really bad as well. But that's where it gets weird, because I guess I don't disagree, because here I am saying I don't even know if they get to 5 wins. I guess I'm really just taking exception with Luganville saying that that they're the worst roster in the country. And look, you know who else took exception? Prime. Because if you watch the clip there, you could see on Instagram, he actually commented, which Coach Prime never normally responds, saying, wow, have you even been here to see any of the talent live? And that is kind of, I mean, that is, it's a fair point. If somebody's going to take a shot that strong, and even I would say this for Luganville, the hoopla and hype line at the beginning seemed a little aggressive. You know, like, okay, what,
Joel,
I don't know.
So Joel Klatt, who I don't always agree with a lot of stuff he said, but
He
Joel,
believes in Colorado.
obviously it's his alma mater. He's actually been there, and I was listening to one of his shows, and he talked about I've been there. I've seen this team with my own eyes. Obviously, he's doing his research because they're going to be covering them for the first 2 weeks of the season. And he said, this is a good roster. Obviously, greatly improved from where they were last year. So I do agree with Dion on that. Like, you can't come at me if you haven't seen us.
Yeah.
Like, you can't come at me until you've been to a practice or been to a game and kind of see the way that our team is gelling and working together. And I'm not trying to defend Colorado in the sense of like, yeah, this is going to be a bowl team. I think you and I both agree 4 wins would be a hell of a year for this team. And I think 4 wins is doable. Which is
4 wins needs to be what they achieve. I think 5 is be a hell of a year. I think 4 wins needs to be there. Like,
I think 4X is a good year. I think 4X is doable. I think 4 wins is doable.
Okay,
I do agree.
4X.
5 wins would be like, wow, that's a hell of a start. But I do agree. It was very aggressive from Luke and Bill. But Luke's also knows high school recruiting better than a lot of people too. Like he is the high school guru. So he's seen these guys for 2-3 years. He ranked them and gave them stars and all that good stuff heading to their other universities.
Well, I mean, a lot of them are 4 or 5 stars. So I don't know. Do you call your own scouting into question at that point then? But no, look, the only thing I'll say is I think you can talk shit though without going to practice, as I never go to anybody's practice and I talk shit every day. So you can lose, but you're going to get a little blowback potentially. Now let's move off of Colorado. Let's move into our 2023 season big predictions. Aaron, how are we going to do this? We'll go conference by conference. The 2 teams that you think will play for a conference championship and who will emerge the eventual winner. Let's start. I'm thinking alphabetical order in the Power 5 here. No, I did not do alphabetical order. I made that up. Anyway, whatever. Let's start with the ACC. Who do you got? Who's going to make the final here?
I got Clemson versus FSU. Great rematch. Wouldn't be surprised if Clemson wins the first matchup in Death Valley. Just a hostile place. It's going to be a late game. I mean, it's. I've been there. I've played there. It ain't easy. So I think Florida State's actually the better football team, but I'll say Clemson wins that first game. They go into a rematch in the ACC championship, and FSU beats them there and wins the ACC.
This is weird. We need to stop hanging out, Aaron, because I mean, to a word, that was my exact read on the situation as well. Those 2 teams, same exact rhythm, lose the first, win the second in the conference championship. So, hell yeah, look at us, dude. Snaps. Okay, 1 for 1. FSU, Clemson, Florida State wins the ACC. That I don't know if you can do the tomahawk chop. I think you can if you're an FSU fan. As a Georgia fan, do they do it? They don't do it at Braves games anymore, do they?
I don't know. I don't go to Braves games. Not a baseball guy.
You live in Atlanta and you just never like go to the ballpark.
I'm not from Atlanta. It's not like it's my team. I'm not gonna claim the Braves when I'm not from.
Are you a Rays fan?
I am a Rays fan.
Oh, Hey, that's cool. Braves just are tight. I grew up loving the Braves too. But I guess I grew up in Atlanta.
You also grew up in Atlanta.
Next, let's move on to the Big 12. I'll start here, Aaron. I think conference championship, TCU, Texas, TCU wins. Okay.
Wow.
TCU wins the conference. So much doubting of Sonny Dykes. He's been masterful in the transfer portal. I'm not in love with any. I mean, probably the Big 12 is the conference I feel weakest about because the team that everybody feels strongest about, I absolutely doubt in Texas. So this is my least convicted of my choices. But yeah, I'm gonna go TCU Texas here with TCU winning it.
All right, I'm gonna go with Texas. Everyone knows how I feel about Texas, and I'm gonna go Kansas State with Chris Kleiman. I think this is obviously they won the conference last year. Like their quarterback, they have returning, and you can watch a number of shows about why I like Texas on here and know why I feel really high about the Longhorns this year. So I got those two teams going at it with Texas winning the Big 12.
I almost went Kansas State, TCU. That's kind of a toss up. I almost went TCU, Kansas State, but I don't know, man. Y'all are starting to wear me down on this Texas front a little bit.
I love it.
The more and more out here alone that I appear to be, I can feel myself just becoming insecure. Just kind of starting to doubt myself a bit. And then I look back at the numbers and I'm like, no, this all makes sense. But then I'm like, well, why do it almost feels like a Twilight Zone episode where you feel like there's these very obvious truths, but all these people that you otherwise really respect and believe in, just nobody else sees it. And then you're like, I guess I'm crazy. Like, am I the old man muttering about the apocalypse and aliens on the street corner?
That's why I feel about Alabama. That's why I posted it today on Twitter. I was like, am I crazy? Am I the crazy dude that's gone batshit?
Alabama, Georgia have both entered their own weird what I am calling rat poison paradox, where both teams are somehow, it's like they exist in a quantum state where they are both at once severely disrespected, but also at once being crowned champion by everyone. Like, which is it? Because both fan bases are calling out being shit on, but then every list I see has Alabama and Georgia winning all the championships. So I don't even. That's its own weird bag of worms that I can't fully wrap my head around. Okay.
It's almost like you can find someone to argue with on the internet at every time. And that's like the downfall of our whole society.
Yeah, I guess that's true, bro. That reminds me of a funny exchange from the from my group text earlier that I was like, man, this pretty much sums up the internet here. One of my buddies sent a video of cats doing shit with hitting balls and stuff. And I was really weird, old man thing to see. But he goes, I've either finally cracked or this is hilarious. I can't stop watching. I was like, well, I think you've cracked because it's slightly amusing, but all this is fake. To which he responds, fuck you, I choose to believe. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Actually, that's how the internet works. Every argument I've ever seen on Twitter, evidence presented does not matter because at the end of the day, so that's me with Texas. Fuck you. I choose to believe they suck. Okay. Because they're going to. So whatever. TCU wins the Big 12. Pac-12, Aaron Murray, who wins?
All right. Pac-12. I got Oregon versus USC. Even that disgusting defense we saw the other night. And I got USC winning it. Caleb's is too good to be held down this year. Caleb in that offense, I get the defense may be where they are right now. I think they'll get just a little bit better throughout the season, good enough to allow this offense to continue to flourish. So fight on, Trojans, fight on.
USC feels like a house of cards, especially after I'm a slave to the moment. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt with that defense that I saw on Saturday. And so with that in mind, I'm going Washington, Utah. Because look, all Utah does every single year is win their way into the Pac-12 championship. I mean, they won the Big 12, the Pac-12 the last 2 years. Say, oh, but T-Bob, what's why? And it's like, okay, I feel you because I thought, okay, I was going to look it up today because nobody talks about Utah. So I was like, okay, you know what? I bet you they just have nobody returning. No, they have more returning
really
production than the entire conference. They basically returned the team that won the Pac-12 last 2 years. I'm like, so what the fuck are we doing? No, I'm going to go Utah. I'm going to go Washington, and the Huskies win the conference. Kalen DeBoer taking those championship levels to the next level in the Power 5. Let's go Huskies, your Pac-12 winners. Michael Penix Jr. and Kalen DeBoer are going to get it together for one final ride. Going to outduel USC and everybody else in that conference. And actually, well, we'll get to this. They're going to end up, Washington will, as a one-loss Pac-12 champion, and they're going to make the playoff. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't believe it. I don't think any, we'll get to it. I don't think any Pac-12 team makes the playoff this year. So.
Well, you don't know Husky. All right. After the Pac-12, Big Ten, who you got?
Big Ten, I have Michigan.
Yep.
Especially that game being in Michigan to finish the season off. I think that's that'll do it for me. They're the better team. They beat Ohio State the past couple years. So Michigan got the Wolverines, and I got Iowa. They're going to face Iowa. Cade McNamara, I think I wouldn't say like necessarily the missing piece to turn this offense into a premier offense, but this will be a better offense. You return a really good defense, and it's just a really bad side of the conference. I was kind of between Iowa and Wisconsin, but the new offense with Wisconsin trying to bring in some different personnel, I just don't think it's going to gel year one. Like I said, Iowa's got a great defense. Cade McNamara is going to make them better on the offense side of the football. Michigan, Iowa. Michigan wins the Big Ten.
Yeah, Iowa, dude. Iowa for whatever reason is never. Well, I mean, I guess because it's Iowa and they just like have carved out this incredibly consistent lane for themselves. But I don't think they're getting appreciated as much as they should be. No. I mean, they were horrendous on offense last year and went 9-4, right? Like who do we always talk about? USC, right? Did they finish 8-5 or did they finish 9-4 last year?
8-5. I'm literally looking at the record right now, T-Bob.
I still didn't trust you, dude. Fuck you. Okay, I don't care. I still didn't trust you. I had to Google it myself. What is that? Is that a Phil Steele cheat sheet, you son of a bitch?
8-5.
You and Jake Hester love to keep that thing on you constantly. That Phil Steele booklet.
Yeah. It's the
flip over.
College football Bible, bro. Do you not keep it on you at all times?
I do not actually.
You don't want to get jackass when you're trying to figure out what Iowa's record was the year before.
I mean, I don't know. I got the internet. I feel like I got there pretty quickly. But either way, to go 8-5 with the 131st defense in their offense in the country. So what you talk about with USC all the time. Like any improvement means that much more because you were so horrendously bad last year. Now, if it's anything like USC, they're going to come out and suck all over again. But I don't think so. So, Michigan, Iowa, obviously Michigan wins. We're in agreement there. Yep. SEC. Aaron Murray.
Georgia. Them dogs. East is locked up. And Georgia would have to fall off the face of the earth when it comes to injuries to not win the East this year. Or Joe Milton's turns into the first pick in the NFL draft. One of the two is going to happen. I mean, if Joe turns out to be not just a guy that can throw the ball 90 yards, but is a legitimate Heisman candidate, then all of a sudden that game in Knoxville gets really interesting. So that would be the one holding them back. And then LSU, the Tigers. The Tigers.
Yeah.
And Georgia wins it again, back-to-back years.
So I have the same thing written down. Again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, Aaron. The paradox is fucking with me because I don't know that I'm a full believer in LSU. And there's a weird LSU undercurrent going on right now of doubt, and it's kind of pervading. And I don't know. Maybe some of it could be sourced back to me because, like, I talk about this stuff all the time, and I guess if people click on my stuff, they think I know what's going on with LSU. But I don't know. Again, this Florida State's game is going to tell us everything. But I could do, if it's a depth chart, I would almost do like LSU/Alabama with UGA winning, but whatever, that's a cop-out. So I'll go LSU, Georgia. Georgia wins the conference. So with that in mind, Aaron, who are your 4 playoff teams?
All right, my 4 playoff teams ranked 1 through 4. I have Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Texas 3, Ohio State 4. Georgia beats Ohio State. Texas beats Michigan for a Georgia versus Texas national championship, in which Georgia wins the 3-peat.
So the coach who has never won 10 games before is going to make the natty.
I mean, he's gonna go for it big this year, baby.
The
Georgia, Texas.
What do you really think about Sark? Like, did you see all the embrace the hate comments and everything? Like, when you hear this man talk, like as a football player, not as an analyst, not as a person. when you hear this man talk, do you believe in him? Because
I believe in his offense. I believe in his offense, and I believe in his team this year. And
So
I
that's a
believe
no.
in what he can do schematically as a offensive mind coordinator. Yes, I do. I think that gives me enough belief so I can get it done.
I think it takes more than that to be the head coach of a team that makes a natty. I don't know, man. I don't think his team, like, I don't know. I every time I hear him talk, I just feel like I almost feel this like kinship with Texas players, as it feels like they're almost in a Les Milesian situation. But you know what? To your point, Les made national championship, even won one. Those are 2 losses. So, if he could do that, maybe Sark could as well. Now, Les had a way better previous resume with multiple 10-win seasons, but hey, who's counting, right? Maybe so. I don't know. I'm the opposite, Aaron. As like from a pure football player perspective, when I hear Sark talk, I just think he always sounds in over his head, but we'll see. Texas fans are going to be very happy for me to eat my words by the end of this.
Yeah.
So the Georgia three-peat happens in Aaron Murray's future. You already know mine, it does not. Now, Georgia will be the 1 seed. Michigan will be the 2 seed. Washington, with the aforementioned 11-1 season, going to be the 3 seed. And then, Aaron, you thought it was Ohio State, didn't you? You really did, didn't you? Well, where does Ohio State go? Is it week 4? South Bend, Indiana. Hey, fucking what? Touchdown, Jesus. Yeah, that's right, buddy. Notre Dame, your 4th playoff team, because they beat Ohio State, who later loses to Michigan, can't get in with 1 loss. Maybe Notre Dame drops one somewhere else. Notre Dame in the playoff, and Sam Hartman as your Heisman, because think about the narrative. If Sam Hartman, he doesn't have to have overwhelming stats. If Sam Hartman leads Notre Dame back to the playoff in this like breakout season, he's going to be a media darling. He's so marketable. People are going to be in love with him. That's what I was talking about clicking right before the show starting. I couldn't figure out that 4th playoff team. It was always Notre Dame, and Sam Hartman was always your Heisman favorite. Okay. So there you go. That's T-Bob's playoff predictions. And I think Michigan wins it all.
Michigan would be okay. Yeah.
In this scenario, Michigan would probably beat UGA toe to toe, unless Sammy Hartman had something to say about it. But I think Georgia would probably beat Notre Dame. Actually, maybe whatever. The point is, I think
Georgia would beat Notre Dame.
I think we have to nail down a nickname for Sam Hartman. Is it going to be Sexy Sammy, Heartthrob Hartman? I think you need to workshop this.
Heartthrob Hartman kind of gets me going a little bit.
It's Heartthrob Hartman's just like,
it's a little too wordy.
It's like so unwieldy. It's like so long. It's like I feel like I'm fucking lifting up I'm like doing a front squat.
Sexy Sammy.
Sexy Sammy's rolls off the tongue a little bit more.
Heartthrobman.
You could do Sammy Sweetheart and just really throw it back to the Jersey Shore.
Okay. It'd be a little niche probably for not our age. I mean, I would guess the demographics of our listeners would understand that, but like I'm worrying about these youngins nowadays out here, which by the way, shout out to everybody subscribing on YouTube. 2.6 now. The road to 3,000 continues. Going to continue to crank it up. So please, if you're listening, it really helps show youtube.com/@volumestat, sub, like the videos, all that good stuff. Aaron, who's your Heisman?
Ooh, I didn't know we were doing Heisman today. I didn't see that in the rundown, asshole. Oh, it was in the rundown. That's my bad. I missed it.
You've been saying Carson Beck forever off air, so just say it on air, you fucking coward.
I'm not going to say Carson Beck on air.
Wow.
That's like my Joe Burrow flyer, put it in, put a little something in there, and if it hits, it hits, and you go win.
I kind of liked your who was your Heisman candidate just a little bit ago? I don't remember.
Oh, Joe Milton.
Yeah, like in terms of a Joe Burrow flyer, because you talk about making yourself into the #1 pick, like that's literally what Burrow did in 1 year.
But Burrow also won a Natty and won the SEC. Like the problem is, I don't think Tennessee's still good enough to win the SEC East. Like that.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's gonna prevent him.
No. In this scenario, Tennessee would have to.
Yes,
win
they
the
would
East
have
to beat
to.
Georgia. So yeah, probably.
I'll go with Blake Corum, Michigan.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he was right there. He was right there the entire year last year to the injury. I mean, I think you talk about an offense I still is going to want to run the ball, dominate the line of scrimmage. Obviously, a lot of hype around the Michigan football team. He's a guy has a chance to have 1,500 yards and a ton of touchdowns. I'll go with Blake Corum at Michigan.
Yeah, I think That makes a lot of sense. Also, you know how I feel about Michigan running back. It just feels like the same way that I feel like America would fall in love with like Sam Hartman bringing back Notre Dame, which feels like deeply college football American. A Michigan running back vying for the Heisman with like an undefeated Michigan team feels like a Norman Rockwell painting. It just feels kind of nostalgic and good. All right. So while I disagree with a lot of your predictions, Aaron, I think we agreed on a lot of stuff as well. So there it is. Your snaps, final predictions. Aaron thinks Texas. After on this show last season, he said, T-Bob, if I ever do this again, slap me in the face. Tell me never Texas ever again. After TCU Texas last year. After all this, Texas into the final. Got it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Go Longhorns.
Aaron, so you're going to be calling game. What game you calling Thursday?
I have the Missouri game for South Dakota on Thursday, and then Georgia versus UT Martin on Saturday.
Okay, hell yeah, man. So you'll be calling a game, so you probably have to play catch up on these games, but everybody should tune in to at least a bit of Mizzou, South Dakota. Hear our boy do plying his trade. He's very good, y'all. If you haven't heard him on the call before, but the other games Thursday night that are going to be locked on to, and actually weirdly, like maybe two of the, if not the two best matchups, not LSU, FSU. I mean, maybe, probably South Carolina, UNC is better, but like, it's weird that in week one of college football, Thursday would be the best day. And they're at the same time, 7 p.m. You got Florida, Utah, and Nebraska, Minnesota. Let's start with Florida, Utah. Who wins there?
I think Florida wins this football game. And I think the biggest reason, like, I love Utah for all the reasons you talked about earlier of why you think Utah wins the Pac-12. I mean, this is a great team that's returning their defense, their offensive line, their quarterback, but I just don't know when the quarterback's going to play. Like, there is a significant drop from where Cam Rising is to their backup quarterback. And it's hard for me to fathom. I think I said it yesterday in the show a little bit, a guy coming off an ACL injury 6-7 months ago, even if he does play, being able to play at the level that we know he can play at. So, I had the opportunity to cover Coach Armstrong, the new defense coordinator for Florida, a year ago, and just knowing and seeing how aggressive he's going to be on defense. I don't even know if I'm Sam Hartman, if I would want to go against Florida's defense, knowing that I'm only 7 months out from a major surgery on reconstructing my knee. So I don't think Sam Hartman plays. I think that's the biggest difference in this game.
Sam Hartman slipped out. It obviously affected your mind. You mean Cam Rising?
Cam Rising.
We know.
Cam Rising.
Oh, that was a comedic zoom right there. Did you do that on purpose? That was well done.
No, I didn't. Cam Rising.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just assuming that Rising plays and is like 85, 90%. How? An ACL is not a 7 to 8 month injury anymore. I don't understand.
No, it still is a 7-8 month injury. It's
no,
like a 9
to be 100%, but not to play. Not to play, to be 100%. I think Cam Rising plays. I think you'd have to take Cam Rising out in a body bag for him not to play.
No chance. I wonder if there's a line out there if Cam Rising plays or not.
Do you think Utah wins, but you think there's no chance Cam Rising plays?
I think regardless if he plays or doesn't play, Florida wins the game.
I know. I'm just asking you. Okay.
I don't think he plays. No, okay. I don't think he plays. I think for Utah, look what happened last year. You lost this game. You still want them to win the Pac-12. What's more important? Keeping your quarterback healthy for the season and giving him another. I mean, you can give him 3 weeks. They don't play a Pac-12 game till UCLA.
You think after Cam Rising left it all on the field last year, the manner in which they lost in the swamp, you think that competitive ass, mustachioed, greasy motherfucker doesn't want revenge?
I don't think it's up to him. I don't think it's up to him.
All right. Well, whatever. I think he plays, and
your coaching staff, you look at the bigger picture, and I'm not going to waste my starting quarterback. If I feel like I can win without him, I'm not going to put him out there in a situation to damage him for the rest of the season, possibly.
You better be right that you can win without him.
I don't think they will. I'm just saying, like, one way or the other, like, it doesn't affect their chances of winning the conference.
Anthony Richardson was the difference last year, and Graham Mertz, Anthony Richardson is also how you could sum up this game. And so I would be shocked if Florida wins. But again, somebody told me this yesterday at dance class. My daughter, they were talking about how, like, the school their kids go, I don't know, parents talk, you just immediately start talking about schools. It's so fucking lame. But they're talking about the school they're sending their kid to, that it has a lot of room for improvement and or something. And she was like, that's just opportunity. I was like, okay, I kind of like that. That's like a a very optimistic way to frame adversity. And yet all adversity is opportunity, right? Opportunity to prove people wrong, to show people wrong. That's Florida, okay? I don't think they're going to do well in this game. I think Utah's going to win, but it's a perfect opportunity for Billy Napier to soothe what has been an awful offseason for the Gators, where everybody's entering this season saying they're going to absolutely suck.
And Anthony Richardson went off in that first game, but Anthony Richardson as a college quarterback last year wasn't anything special. Let's be honest. Like we're acting like there's
no, but you can't.
No. Worse than Anthony Richardson last year. Like that's really bad.
No. But you can't look in this case. You actually can't look at the whole year, right? Like you have to look at that game because he did this crazy shit that won them that game that Graham Mertz can't do. So I feel you. Like Graham Mertz can be a better overall quarterback.
And there's stuff from the previous coach staff at Wisconsin that was saying like we misuse Graham. Like he is more talented than what he put on tape last year and the year before. Like so like that gives me confidence too. He's on a better roster. They have a better running game. What's that?
Didn't you rank him last in the SEC?
I did, but like that was before I heard that this comment from the coaching staff.
Okay.
We screwed up with Brandon Hurts. He's better than what he put out there. Like we did not, put him in a situation to have success. So I still need to see it. Like that's his coach, which obviously you should probably trust his coach more than me watching him on tape. But there were moments early in his career where he looked damn good, like really, really good. So he's got a better team around him. They got a great running game. And if Florida is going to win this game, it's going to come down to him because you're on the road. Utah's going to load the damn box. You're going to get a lot of single high coverage. He's going to have to be accurate.
So who are you actually predicting that's going to win?
Florida.
Utah. Oh, you're saying Florida. You think Florida's going to win?
Florida
no matter
wins
what?
the football game.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, I think Utah does.
No, Utah does.
Yeah, I mean, you're just too much of an SEC homer, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I love Utah.
You can't just say I love Utah after you chose Graham Mertz and Billy Napier to beat them when everybody says Florida's going to be.
If Cam Rising was playing, Utah would mop them.
Okay, never mind. You can't say that then. Nebraska, Minnesota. Nebraska at Minnesota this weekend. Obviously here, merch link in the bio. We are the main corn hub purveyors in the country. I got to be honest, Aaron. I entered reading about this game thinking Minnesota's going to win, right? Minnesota's clearly been a much better team over the last 3 years. I love PJ Fleck. The quarterback situation is pretty interesting to learn about. That said, I just kind of assume Minnesota's going to win. The more I've looked into this, and yes, let's just call a spade, my Nebraska bias is starting to leak through. But the more I look into this game, Aaron, there's actually a lot that I like for the Huskers here. Give me your read first, and I'll dive into my research, my obviously biased research.
Yeah, obviously biased. I think Nebraska wins the football game too. I do. I think Matt Rule is a hell of a coach, and this is even without you just throwing it in my face this entire offseason. He's a hell of a coach, and this is the best team that he's ever taken over. So
yeah,
this was a team that was, as we all know, in the majority of their games last year. I mean,
every one, they 3-9, every single loss by 8 points or less, and in half those games they had a lead in the second half.
So he inherited a good football team, and then he upgraded the quarterback position with Jeff Sims. You look at Minnesota, and Tanner Morgan's not there at quarterback anymore.
Nope.
And I don't know how much I love I don't know if I can pronounce his name right. Kaliakmanis.
Kaliakmanis. I don't know how to say it either, but it's fun to say, isn't it? We're gonna look it up.
I think the offense is a lot of question marks that need to be answered for Minnesota. Defensively, they'll be good. They return the majority of that side of the football, but it's kind of also hard to judge their defense last year with the schedule they played. So, their defense at home will make this game obviously a really tight game. That's probably going to come down to a one-score game. But I just think at the end of the day, Matt Rule's the better coach. I think Jeff Sims is the better quarterback. And I think you're going to see that a very physical Nebraska football team from the very start of the season, a more disciplined team, a team that's going to want to beat you at the line of scrimmage. So I think Nebraska kind of makes some huge noise with a big win to get the season going.
A team that's been, practicing situational football all camp. No, look, again, I entered this thinking Minnesota. Then I learned something, it started with seeing, okay, actually, 3 straight defeats for Nebraska in this series, all by exactly 7 points. Okay, so it's not like it's been some massive gap, and these are badly coached Scott Frost teams.
Yep.
Then you see, look, I love PJ Fleck, but as you mentioned, Tanner Morgan's gone. You know who else is gone? Muhammad Ibrahim, their all-time leading rusher. You know who else is gone? John Michael Schmitz, their All-American center. Okay, I don't care who you are. They always talk about strength of the middle on a football team. Losing your quarterback, All-American running back, and All-American center is not exactly easy to replace. Then you look at their defensive backfield last year, which was awesome. Only gave up 8 passing touchdowns on the entire year, right? 3 of the 5 guys gone, 2 to the NFL, 1 transfer to Rutgers, which what the fuck, who transfers to Rutgers, but whatever. And then you look at quarterback. Okay, well, look, Tanner Morgan was out some last year. How did Athan Kaligmanis do? Athan Kaligmanis. Again, they call him the Greek rifle, so that's what we'll call him from now on. And this is where it gets interesting. It all hinges on the Greek rifle, Aaron, for Minnesota for me. He was a redshirt freshman year when he had to play, and the stats, honestly, as a whole for the season, look awful. Right? But he's thrust into a tough situation as a freshman. And he leads him to a couple nice wins. He leads him to win over Wisconsin. He leads him to win over Syracuse in the bowl game. But the Wisconsin game is what maybe Gopher fans should take a little hope from. In that game, 19 of 29, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Okay, a great game for the Greek rifle. If he can prove that that was a flash of more things to come, then I think Minnesota probably wins this game. But if he's who he looked like for the majority of his outings last season, or is just not that good, well, guess what? You ever seen Beer Fest, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know in Beer Fest, at the end of the movie, when the whole big reveal is, hey, we're not that drunk. It's like you said. Yes, exactly. Nebraska is not that bad. And so that's the point. Like, these were already teams that were relatively even when Minnesota had their 3-year starting quarterback, All-American running back, and All-American center. What happens when you take all this away and Nebraska gains a Matt Rule? Like, no, I think Nebraska actually wins this game. It feels like everything's coming up Corn Hub, baby. So there it is. Both of us think Nebraska takes it home on Thursday. God, I hope to be right when we record our Friday morning show this week.
God, I may not get a word in if Nebraska wins on Thursday night for our Friday show.
Oh my God. I'm going to be
I'll just sit here and enjoy
corning.
you just basking in your corn hub.
I'm going to be corning all over the place, dude. That's not really funny. That doesn't even make any sense as a joke. I apologize, everybody. But I hope you had a great time still on today's show. The Snaps, youtube.com/@volumesnaps. Oh man, I forgot to do the opening comment. Let me see if we have one. And I have a side document where I take notes. And so I always, no, we don't. We'll get it back tomorrow. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Snaps podcast. If you Google it, you can find it wherever you get it, rate it, review it. All that sort of stuff helps. Share it with your friends, your family.